New York City is looking to pass legislation that would make it illegal for landlords to discriminate against a tenant if they are a convicted criminal. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's an update to an article I did a while back about how New York City is trying to make it illegal for landlords to do background investigations on their prospective tenants. Now, I personally think this is one of the most idiotic bills I have seen, okay? It doesn't make any sense. So the thing is, they're saying, okay, these people, they deserve the right to find a home. And, for stuff that happened a long time ago, it should be no big issue. And I'm just like, hey, let the landlords decide who they want to live in their property. Just because a crime happened a long time ago doesn't mean that, we want that person in our property. Oh, well, 20 years ago, this person over here, they robbed and killed someone. Well, maybe I still, even 20 years later, don't want that person living in my property, okay? So, and I should have the right to do that. I should have the right to go through and screen my tenants and make sure that I have the best quality tenants possible for each one of my units. But they want to take away that ability because they say that it's wrong, okay? And, I don't understand all of this or pro-criminal. That's what it really is. It's not anti-landlord as much as it is pro-criminal. We want to make sure that the criminals are doing okay. Well, you know what? Maybe they should suffer, okay? Maybe these people who have these felony convictions and, have treated everyone else like garbage and victimized, in the entire city with all their crime and problems, maybe they should have trouble finding somewhere to live. So, I'm just one of those people that believes that, hey, I don't want person with these criminal convictions and who's maybe violent or maybe a thief or, maybe who knows what, using drugs or selling drugs. I don't want that person living anywhere near me. And I don't want them in my property, okay? So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think, okay? As a landlord, would you want to rent to somebody who has serious criminal convictions? And I'm not talking about somebody who has like a DUI, okay? That's what they always, oh, well, this person has one simple marijuana possession conviction. Listen, we're not talking about that, okay? This person over here did 3 years in prison for, distribution of cocaine, and now you want me to let them into my property. I don't think so. Anyway, let's get into the article. This article is coming from foxbusiness.com, and it says, New York City bill preventing landlords from performing criminal background checks gains traction. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has suggested he supports the legislation. I'm surprised by this, right? This mayor, Eric Adams, is actually a former police officer. And he supports legislation that would force, and you know what? I've heard he's a landlord too. He's a landlord and a former police officer, and he supports legislation that would take away one of the best tenant screening tools that there is. Okay? And he supports making it so that landlords have no ability to check, what kind of criminal history they're putting in of the tenants that they're putting into their units. Okay? That is idiotic. And you know what? I personally believe that, all of his past days of being a police officer, they're over. Now he's just a regular, self-serving politician who is just saying whatever the flavor of the month is, okay? So if all his, the people voting for him are saying, oh, well, not even the people voting for him, I think what it really is it's a bunch of activists who are saying this stuff, they are, criminal justice reform. We got to do criminal justice reform. We got to give, benefits and special attention to these people with these criminal convictions. I honestly believe it's just some activists. I don't believe that the majority of people think this is good policy and that this is the way to move forward, but they're doing it anyway because they have their blinders on to reality. So anyway, let's get into the article because I'm on a rant. A new law being seriously considered by lawmakers in New York City could strip landlords of the ability to perform criminal background checks on prospective tenants. The legislation, known as the Fair Chance for Housing Act, is set to go before the New York City Council's Committee on Civil Rights on December 8th and is being backed by at least 30 of the council's 51 members, New York Post reported. In addition to being supported by a significant number of lawmakers, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has suggested he is open to working with lawmakers on the proposal. So, they're going to have looks like a committee meeting on this legislation on December 8th, right? But already 30 of the 51 city council members have shown support for it. So the chance of this not passing are slim to none, honestly, okay? This is probably going to pass. Landlords in New York are going to have their hands tied. And the only way that can really change is if, those landlords with really, really big pockets are somehow able to turn some of those votes around, okay? I don't like it, but, I'm not surprised. I'm never surprised when I read about these super far left-leaning progressive laws that actually hurt the majority of the people. It's like when they were talking about they have these district attorneys who, got rid of, they're like, oh, well, we need bail reform. It's wrong that people are sitting in jail after committing crimes. So what we end up with is somebody who can rob people, right? And then go to jail and then immediately get out without paying any bail. Okay? They don't do any time in jail whatsoever. And then they just go and they rob somebody else. And then the same thing happens. And then they go rob somebody. It's like a horrible repeating cycle. If there's no consequences for your actions, you can't, really deter crime now, can you? Okay? No one should be denied housing because they were once engaged with the criminal justice system. Plain and simple. A spokesperson for the mayor's office told Fox Business in a statement. We will work closely with our partners in the city council to ensure this bill has maximum intended impact. The bill has been criticized by some, including Republican Councilwoman Inna Vernikov, who posted on Twitter that the safety of families is at stake. A bill which would prohibit landlords from conducting criminal background checks of potential tenants, Vernikov tweeted. Murdered someone? Beat up your girlfriend? Robbed? Stabbed your neighbor? No problem. Come live among us. Yeah, and she's absolutely correct, okay? It just doesn't make sense. You would have no ability to screen out those tenants with, not just violent crimes. I mean, there's so many crimes that are not considered not violent where you still don't want to be living next to the person. Like, just as a person, not a personal example, but just as an example that I can think of, right? Imagine somebody literally, created a meth lab and they were making meth, right? Now, this isn't a violent crime. You're not, actually physically hurting anyone, right? You're just making meth, but, all the chemicals, all of the fumes, etc., make it a very dangerous place to live next to. So you don't want people who manufacture methamphetamine living in an apartment right next to you now, do you? Because there could be an explosion. So, that's just an example of a crime that's not violent that still would be a, simple, hey, no, I don't want you living in my building. Today is supposed to be a day of gratitude, not attacking, Manhattan Democratic Councilman Keith Powers responded to Vernikov's Thanksgiving Eve post. We don't believe in second chances anymore? Vernikov responded by asking if Powers would be willing to rent a floor of your home to S.O., who has a long rap sheet and history of burglarizing homes, assaulting people. And that's the question right there, right? All these city council people, right? They don't care about any of this stuff as long as it doesn't personally affect them. So here's the real question. Do you want these people living next to you? If you're a city council member, right? Do you want this criminal element living right next to you, in the unit right next to you, where your family is at, where you go to work every day, okay? Do you want thieves? Do you want drug use? Do you want prostitution, etc.? These are the kind of crimes that landlords are looking out for to make sure that we have the best tenants in our buildings possible. We don't want to rent to those people, yet you're telling us that, hey, you have to, you have no choice. The government now decides who you allow into your property and who you don't. But hey, this is New York, right? So this is not to be unexpected. This isn't unexpected, okay? The government already takes control of how much landlords can charge for rent. You know, they have rent control there in New York. They also have very, very strong eviction protection. So they decide whether you can remove a tenant or not from your unit. They've basically taken control of your properties there. Okay, they've made it so that the government really is the one running your properties, and you know you have to abide by all of these rules, and you have no choice.